Morning, and once again welcome to Elixir. The last time we met, we wrote a video code of this URL Shortener. So today, let's get right to business, baby. Let's get this project to production. So we are going to use a live view, Elixir Phonics live view for this project, and we could go through the route of actually creating a database, but I do not want us to use Ecto. I've always heard of ETS table, and I've used it twice now for a project I'm working on for my company, and I think it's actually a very nice way to use in case of a small project like this where we just want to save the database. We just want to save the data into a temporary storage, not a database. So for now, I'm not too good at it, so I don't know, we might actually have to go together on this. Yeah, we have to go together on this to get the setup and everything, and we'll ask our friend GPT for help in place where we get confused on what to do next. So first of all, let's start the project. So what should we name this? I think we should name this URL Shortener. Yeah, so we are not going to use Ecto. We are not going to use Ecto for this project. Miss PHS. Okay, yeah. So most of us might actually know how to start in Elixir project, and Miss PHS will start a Phonics Elixir project for you. So we are going to call it URL Shortener. URL Shortener. That is the name of this project, and we are going to say no. Yeah. So it asks us, do we want it to install our dependency? Yep, we want it to install the dependency, and we run this project starting in a shell. So by so doing, we'll be able to debug at the same time, see how it's going. Yeah, it has created a folder structure for us: application.ex, a lib folder, controller.error.json, endpoints, and so it has created so many things for us. So let's wait. It's still running, so let's just wait for it to finish doing the integration. So while we wait, I believe most of us might have gone through the basics using Elixir Mentor. So sorry if I just dive into creating a project. As I said in my last tutorial, I'm not really going to touch more of the basics. I'm just going to explain using tutorial, because this tutorial is I'm not just putting it online for everybody to learn. It's also a means for me to improve myself and learn in Elixir. Elixir is an amazing language. Yeah, it's a bit complex, but it's a cool language actually. With time, you just get to understand so many things. I'm still diving my head into it. So ETS stands for Erlang Term Storage, commonly referred to as ETS, and available to use in Elixir. So we'll just go through the overview. Why our project is running in the background. So if you want to reset creating a table, ETS.new. So we might actually just be setting this up in a file and be moving it to the application. So that once the application starts, more like a gen server, there's a way to access ETS by name rather than identifier .name. So set access public is setting to the table. So the more we want to use different things because where I work most time is I just do a glimpse of all the things I can implement in ETS. Then during the implementation process, I just go step by step to say, okay, now I want to do this. How do I do it? How do I run through this one after the other? Because if you want to try to remember everything, it's not possible. You might just lose 1 or 2 points. So it's better as you are using it, just keep on going through the write-up. So we have gotten our system. Yeah, we have into our system, and let's start the project. Okay, I think I have one project on it. What I remembered. If not, so it will cause it will give us a starter error, an application error that we can't start the project. Yeah, you can't have two projects running in Elixir. But I think I don't know. I think you have to, if you want to have two or three projects running, you have to change the port. I've not ever tried to change the port. Most of them I just close the first project. I'm like, okay, this is the one I want to concentrate on. Our wings did not format very well. No issue. We're actually going to take this out. We're going to take this out and just have a welcome to ETS. So let's just for now close this. And we forgot to sorry, I forgot to open the code, so I'm just gonna open a new terminal. So the URL Shortener. Okay, code. Okay. So once I'm done with this, I'll push this to my repo and push this into my GitHub lab, and I'll get my GitHub. I'll push this to my repo, my GitHub. Then I will share my GitHub name. So if you want the code, you can just go there to check it out. Once we are done. Okay, so for now we have application.es. We are going to change some things here. We have mailer. Okay, so let's just keep this application.es open. For now, I just want to so we have this page controller to render our page. So we have the layout, root.ex. Root.ex is the one that helps us to run it. So this is the HTML aspect. Every Elixir project has an HTML. So this is what we are looking for here. And we just want to first of all take out this header, and in this main so this is where the code is. So we want to also take out this code and just put a simple message that says, it's a simple message. Okay, simple. So we're just going to use it there. So this is where our form, this is going to be the home page for our application. We are not using should we use a live view? We can use a live view, but let's just keep it simple for now. Let's just use the controller. So we're gonna say Elixir URL Shortener. So let's see if that works. Saved it right. So what are we getting? URL Shortener. It's still loading, but we see it's coming up. So let's see how to begin. So first of all, from we said we needed a form. So we said step by step, collect the original URL, save the original URL, return a format. So for us to save the URL, this is where ETS comes in. So before we do the collect URL, let's start with ETS. Let's get ETS set up. So in our controllers, so I just put a new folder alone. It's not going to be in controller, it's just going to be called services. So inside the services, we're just going to do some EX. So this is where we're going to write most of our code. So let's just get ask a few questions of how do we start an ETS table and everything. So in case if we don't want to run everything in the application, so let's just ask ChatGPT, how do we set up an ETS configuration in our new file? So just for us to get more clarity on it and see how to begin this process. So yeah, let's look at the response ChatGPT gave us when we asked the question. So the question says, how do I set up for an ETS in a file called catcher.es and just add it to my application and use that file for inserting, deleting, or any ETS functionality? Because we are going to be inserting into the ETS table, we are going to be deleting, and yeah, we might do one or two functionality just as long as the project is moving to set up a dedicated model for managing ETS operation in a file called catcher.es, integrate into your Elixir application. You can follow the steps. So in the module that they created for us, if you see they did a dev.initiate where they are starting function to initiate the table. But in the beginning they actually did some. So we have to first of all give the table. So we have to first of all give the table a name. Give the table a name and before we can start our functionality. So don't mind me, I was trying to open up my phone. Okay, so coming over here. So let's do so dev. Let me just go back because I usually forget most time how to do this dev module and all that. So just use this. So if you don't put an end, you put an end. So let's correct the URL. It is URL but it's not endpoint. Instead is in a service folder. So services first dot. We now have URL shorten. So wherever we see a gap, we just make it a capital letter. That's the naming convention. Achieve. So this is what we want to do. So what ChatGPT gave us initially first was for us to add our table name. So at table name at so we could have just copied the code, but I most time like understanding what I'm putting in, and there's this ETS already here. So instead of just copying the code and coming back here to start doing it, we can be a bit faster. So we can just copy the code and start rearranging it based on what we want, or we can just look at it one by one and start implementing it. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and we're going to check it up on our table and find out that we have an ETS table, and we're going to try to look up and insert things into the table just to confirm that things are actually entering the table. So let's just continue. At table name, yeah. So the table name is just gonna be URL shortener data. So we're just gonna call the URL shortener data. We can call our table name anything we like. Sorry, we are supposed to put this over here. So it's giving us an error already, meaning we are not doing things right. So let's just so we are going what we said something about it expiring, having an expiring date. So let's just remember to put it for an expiring date, our expiring date, sorry, time, expiring time. We could use milliseconds of 30 seconds, but I'm going to make it 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes, after 5 to 10 minutes, it's going to expire. So let's ask I think let's ask it what is 10 minutes if we want to do 10 minutes milliseconds. Just gonna go with this. I think 10 minutes is 600. Yeah. I think 100 is for 1 minute, so 10 minutes is 600. So we do that and just call it expiry time 10 minutes after creation. So it's going to expire 10 minutes after we create it. So we are already starting. Don't worry, just I'm also a beginner, so we're all gonna learn together. It's do and we're gonna say ETS dot new. So this ETS dot new now let's see why we are using this functionality actually. What's really ETS dot new? So coming here, creating okay, ETS are created with the new functionality and they say it takes two arguments which accept a table name and a set of options, return a table identifier. So we can just come here and just copy this code and change our table name. So since we know the first argument is the table name and the second argument, so we can just do it like this, and call this one. So this one will be art. Now, yeah, it will be art. Um, art table name. That's what we call it, table name. Then we put it. So we are going to put. You can take two or three arguments. So we are going to see this name. So why are we putting this name table? Why are we actually putting this name table? From here we didn't see a name table. It just says set and protect. So not like a gen server. Okay. Sorry, I'm not using my mouse today, which is kind of disturbing. So just using my keyboard. So much like gen server, there's a way to access ETS by name rather by identifier. To do this, we need to include table name. So now we want to access ETS by name rather than the identifier. So if you see this, so this is something like what we are doing, set protected. And so if you see it's taking three arguments, it's already taking a table name. It's taking so instead of protected, we are making it public. So what's the difference between protected and public? ETS, to do this we need to include them. We access the ETS. So if you see set, it says default table type, one value per key. Keys are unique. That set similar to set but ordered by Elixir bag. Many objects per key but only one instance of each of duplicate bag. So you see public. So public read and write available to all process. Read available to all process. Only writable by the owner process. So we made it public to be read and write by all process. Why protected is read to only is only the owner process that can read it. While private is read and write limited to the owner process. So we don't want that. So we just go with public. Now we have done the initiate. So this will initiate the table. So let's go with insection into the table. So this first one is so we can call it initiating the table or starting the table. Starting the table is a better small English to say than be saying initiate. So this one we'll call it dev dot insert. So we are inserting a key and a value. So we have a do and end, and what we want to say here is we talked about us getting it expire at the same time we want to put the expiring date and also put the value we are going to get, which is the original URL. So let's come over here to ChatGPT because I think we gave it a rundown of what we want to achieve. So it set table key dot value at insert key dot value ets lookup ok.l delete the table get all entries from the ets table. So you now start the application. Okay, value key not found. Okay, so in that if you want to automatically add an expiry, because I think I've been using this particular this ChatGPT open to ask questions earlier on some things. So he said if you want to add the expiring date, we're going to do ETS lookup table key value expiring timestamp. So in the ETS, it's giving us this expiring systems time plus expiring time. So it's not putting key value and expiring timestamp. So we could just copy this now. Since we know what it's just doing, it's putting the value we want to add and also the expiring time. So we'll just do this, and so this is for us to look it up now to get. Now if you want to get this particular, yeah, want to get it by a particular key. So this is getting by key. So we'll pass the key to get it. ETS lookup, if not expired, do okay the value as delete. Yeah. So the process of putting the expiring date is that if the URL has not expired, it should be direct. But if it has expired, we should not even it should not create a short URL for us and just give us a message that oh, it has expired, like what we are looking for has expired. So we just so the get is still the same, the delete is still the same. So we just do this for these ones, just copy these remaining ones and paste it here and try to understand what's going on from here. So we talked about this. If more than one process can read by public, setting it to ATS, we have done this one. Dump stack, so user lookup ATS, they want to now insert dump stack chain, Elixir. So this is the key, Elixir Ruby, that's the value. True, now ETS user lookup dump chain Ruby ts dot new false true. Data retrieval, ETS offers a few convenient and flexible way to retrieve our stored data. We'll look how to retrieve data by key and different forms of pattern matching. Okay, so to ETS lookup, user lookup dump stop, which I told you was the key. So you retrieve the data they pass using the key. So they are telling you some things, it was built with Erlang, so some things are complicated. So ETS.delete, ETS.delete, and so this is a simple catch. This is like what we are trying to do here. So if new results and then the lookup. So they are you see they are using a get, they are using a lookup, they are using a check freshness. So it's just something like what they have in this their example we want to do, but we want to just customize it to what the project wants to achieve. So we have done the expiring system, we have done the um, get, we have done all this. So now let's come into putting it in our this thing. So if you see we have our application warning, we can put it anywhere. So we can just put it at the at this side over here. So to put it, we put a, yeah, so we are using these curly braces, then we call the name of where we put that service, and we are going to stop this server and start running it again. So we'll just call this over here and we pass this. So this, and yeah, we put this. So this should, okay, so let's format our table and see what's really happening. So we'll do mix format first to know really what's happening. Then we do mix compile. So you can see it has formatted the code for us. So we clear it and start our application. And when we start our application, we'll just try to first of all confirm if our ETS table is there. So we are going to use ETS dot. So we are going to call the table name and we'll give it a key. So we'll just copy something like this, or we can just call the module name we used, which is this here. So we are going to call, so we are going to alias this our module, and we'll call this insert. We give it a key and a value. So that's okay. So we got the error that says no application couldn't start URL shortening exited in URL application that starts. The module URL was given a child to a super was given as a child to a super, but it does not implement child specific. Okay, I have not seen this kind of error before, so I think our friend here would help us to debug what happened. So we'll tell him what we did. Okay, application URL exited in the module web service was given as a child to a supervisor, but it does not implement the child specific. What does it mean by that? If you only give a module, please we define a child specific function that receives. So it we didn't do something like this. Yeah, so we didn't do something like this. So let's just ask ChatGPT how to add child specific to our application so that we can pass it. So you see, the error is so clear, like it's so clear that we actually know what we did wrong. We didn't give it a child specific of module and everything and ID. So the error you are encountering because the module you pass does not implement the child specific which is required when adding modules to a supervisor. When using Elixir supervisor, every module you want to supervise must implement a child specific function, but you need to provide one. To fix this, you have two options. Use a gen server or an agent for an ETS. You could define your ETS management into a gen server agent, which comes from a predefined child specific. This is more idiomatic way to manage a long. So instead of directly creating an ETS table in a plain mode, we create a gen server that manage the ETS table. Okay, so we are supposed to use a gen server. So we are supposed to call a gen server and that should fix our problem. So we didn't use a gen server. So for the course of this tutorial, please even I would still read more on that gen server. So I will endeavor everybody to go and read about gen server because we are going to be using it and we might not give a clear definition of it. So just the same way we are using ETS table, gen server in Elixir with ETS. So there's even something about it. So if you come here, so you see here somebody has answered the question for us that. So if you just come here and you even click on gen server in Elixir, I think you might, yeah, you would definitely see something on it. So just research. That's what Elixir is. Being a developer is a continuous learning process. So I'm reading through the document article on ETS, the blog. Okay, so let's just go to this article. It's reading create timer using any JS server first, then replace it with your. Okay, so let me see. Optimizing your Elixir and furnish project with you. So I will drop the link of this tutorial in the readme file. Yeah, I'll drop the link of this Docker blog in the readme file of this project so you can read it. So you see, it's just like this, and so you see, you use JS server, and so this was what we are supposed to do. Start the link, then create logger.debug is logging in, sweeping request starts when count is nil. So it's a ETS to the rescue. So he started it again in Gen server ets.update table. So you see ETS is easier, and so we are supposed to use Gen server and start. So this is the start link that we did not provide in our model. So this tutorial help us to see what we were doing wrong in our own side. So we need to use the Gen server and add the start link. Might come up later to do most of those functionality, but in your application. So let's come back to this tutorial we saw here. And let's just see if this would fix it for us. So we just come here and say use it, yes, then we start it. So sweep after the time seconds. So you put the time seconds at tab at max entries and all that. So if you want to manage it here without using agents, you might manually define the jet specific for. Oh, okay. If you want to manually do it, so since we're manually doing it, we don't have to go through that route. Let's compile, and so let's start again and see what happened. Okay, so function initiatives required by behavior just is not implemented in your model. Okay, function. Okay. Okay, so it says function. So it one does that function initiate is required by Gen server. So we are using Gen server and we got this one. Sorry, so coding is more of debugging and working and trying to understand step by step what's going wrong and what you are trying to achieve. Are you like it's both of the two things in alignment? So please explain more on this. Okay, so just use it and see. I think we already did a git initiate callback already. Yeah, I started it and then it supervised. So oh, okay, initiate. Okay, we didn't do that. Start link. Start the module option allows you to define a gen server by the module name. This function requires by gen file. Okay, thank you. So just a step-by-step question. So we're almost there. Ensure the int callback is present and initialize the ETS. Start the gen server with the required initial. So when we want to start a VM server, we have start the link up to so we have to now add callback, initiate callback. So they said we should do call genserver.call, 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 then I think at this point in time we should better let him know what we are working on. I've not really used genserver a lot trying here, so I'm just trying to understand two or three things what's really wrong here. So today we might just only end with the getting this ETS running, and the next time we start with the whole getting the whole other part of the project working. So we might just have to copy it and replace it with our code and just read it from here what we did wrong. So it started by URL expire, start the JSF and initiate ETS table. So module name, setting key value painting with an expiring date, key and value, delete key, get all. So initialize the table set public. So it now started doing the def handle call. So we might have to understand what is this handle call about. So going back over here, what did it really do? So start link. Okay, so handle call performs the required action and responds with the result. So state management now, since ETS is storing the data, the gen server start is not used there, and if you need to track additional state, you can use this map for that purpose. Okay, so let's see what really happened now in our project. Hopefully all this solves the issue we had. So he compiled it and no issue to start the project. Okay, we're able to start the project. Cool. So let's just is it not, are we not implementing alias the module name? Oh sorry, I put a small letter. So yeah, so we cannot do dot so which one do we start with first? We start with the insert, so we give it a key dot insert. So we give it a key of URL. Then we give it a value of Facebook. So just see the URL link is Facebook, just to see what happened. Invalid argument for the expected a compiler term atom or alias but got invalid argument for alias. Expected a compliant time atom or an alias. Oh, we are not supposed to do alias again. Sorry. So we get an okay. Yeah, so that's the error we did. Okay, so we have done it. So we are going to use the key. So the key we gave it was URL. So what is the function to get the key? I think the function to get the key is get. Okay, it's just get. So we're just gonna do get. So we saw how we learned on Gen server, and so I'll still employ everyone to still read on ETS. So we got an okay and we got the value which is Facebook. So that means our Gen server is up and running. Sorry, our ETS. Our ETS table is up and running. So we're gonna try to delete now and do get all. So let's do another one. Let's insert another one. So we're gonna do get all so that we can use it to get all together. So this one we can just call it URL1 and we give this one WhatsApp. We have changed it, yeah, WhatsApp. So we get an okay and we'll just do just get get. What did you mean get one? I think we are supposed to. Oh, it's get all. Sorry, we forgot to we forgot to like use the functionality name, because the get is actually for getting just one. So the get all now, yeah. So we have URL1 WhatsApp. This is the gen server number. So we're going to try to understand what does this number mean, because even me, I want to get what the number means. So behind the value, then getting it from ETS table. So we're just gonna pass URL, and what is the like what is URL dot value is a timestamp. Okay. Oh yeah, representing the expiring time of the entry. We have I forgot it was two values. So thank God we are. So now that's why I say it's our friend. So we got the timestamp. But is this really how we want our timestamp to look like? This system timestamp is not it though, it's not it. So we might just come and correct that. But for now we are getting a timestamp and we are getting a value which we need to now do our project. So if we say delete, is there any delete all functionality? Okay, it's the delete one. So delete, and we're going to pass URL one. So we're going to pass URL one. That is what we want to delete. Then we come here and we do get all. We just get one URL. So that is just what we want to find out from today. If we're able to successfully create our ETS table, which we are. So those to everybody that's join hand and follow us to do this walkthrough tutorial. It's a walkthrough tutorial. It's a very, very basic tutorial because it's just like you're just learning to code in Elixir. You have learned the basis. You're not trying to dive that basis you learn into your work. You're still gonna be making mistake once in a while because you haven't used it for a while, so your brain have not stick to this is what I'm supposed to do next. So forgive us if it looks slow. It's a beginner's tutorial for people who wants to learn Elixir by building a project. Yeah, so we dive into page controller. Yeah, we dive into page controller. Then we created a folder called services. So we're just trying to make our codes smooth, like very easy. So you can see, oh, this is where all the ETS code is. Then we move it to the application, the ETS, that application, the ES, that help us to launch it. So what is in our next? Coming over here, we have been able to create an ETS table. So what we achieved today, create an ETS table. So we're able to create an ETS table, learn how to use Gen server. So next time, what we want to achieve, create a form, save the URL and correct the timestamp, write a function to shorten the URL. So today we might actually let's just do a small form. We might come and clean it up today. Yeah, let's just do a small form. There's not going to be any functionality to the form, sorry. Just a small form. So let's just dive our head into the small form. So if you come here, you will notice that well, this is where we are. So we're just gonna use H1 for this one. If Elixir has its form, so if we go to core, there is this form functionality Elixir has done for us, and I think it expects us to pass some values. So if you see there's a modal, so you just call the modal wherever you want to use it. Flash group for flash message. So you just put flash, that should give you a flash message. Input field. So the input field is expected to have a field of assigned, so the field has name and everything. So for now we're just gonna do, so if we do dot form, this is you see this is like the Elixir form format of form. But if we do it like this form it, so there's something wrong here. Okay. So if we try to save this now, let's see what it tells us. So it tells us something. It says something. It says, okay, so it didn't say anything for now, right? So let's try to now do it. Just input. So we're just trying to use that what Elixir have done for us. So we are going to call this a type of text, just a type of text. Going to put a placeholder that says enter URL. So next week we're just gonna, oh, okay, sorry. By next week or next time we meet, we're just gonna work on this. So it said name not found. So you see, it said name not found in this block. So it requires a name, a label, and some other things. So it said name not found and all that. So we are supposed to give it a name. So to use this for most time is, so it's missing an attribute of 4. So we can just do it like this. In order, so when we have the 4 and we are ready to use it, we can use it. So for now, I think if you see, are we still getting an error? Input type. Why are we getting an error? They just call the value. I think when we want to use it in the gen server, when we want to use it for the main project, we'll not be running through most of this error we are having now. So it asks for a lot. Like he wants everything to be there because all these are compulsory things they have written. So he's just looking for every single thing. So this is where we are going to close today. Label. Where is the label now? We have a lot of work to do. So we're going to study on how to do this URL shortening. So the next time we meet, we would have gotten things in order. So thank you. It's still your home girl Benny, and welcome to Elixir Forge, a home to learn Elixir for beginners. Thank you.